guys, my name is Adam Barker. Welcome to my collection. I hope you see something here that you like, something that you remember from your childhood, and maybe you also enjoy collecting. So I'm going to take you on a quick tour around the display case. As I said, hopefully there's something here that grabs you, that sort of excites you again, or hopefully there's something that you remember. They say, oh, I remember having that, or maybe even saying, oh, okay, I've got a better one than that, Adam. I'll send you a pic. That's also cool. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will chat to you a little bit later about some of my favorite pieces. But let's go through the room and see what's here. I'll see you guys now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. So when Chris asked me to do this video, he said I must focus on a couple of pieces that mean a lot to me, that have a story attached to them, or something meaningful to me. And so I chose a couple of pieces, and I hope you guys will dig them. Probably the first thing that I chose that sort of jumped out to me was this Leonardo figure. And it's not a especially great specimen of a Leonardo figure. It's not in the best condition, but the reason why I dig it's because it's mine from childhood. It's probably one of 2 or 3 pieces that I've got left over from my childhood, and this one was played with all the time. I absolutely love this figure, and so this is such a special memory for me. It just reminds me of why I started collecting again, is that the joy that you have on a birthday morning, opening up your presents and finding a new minty fresh Ninja Turtle. Nothing better in this world. And just, man, every time I see him, I just remember going back to that, being 6, 7, opening it up and just having such a joy, and remembering how life could be cool in the 80s and still a lot of fun. The next one I want to show you guys is this one over here. It's an Andre the Giant. It's quite a beat up figure, and once again it also has a story. This used to belong to a very good friend of mine, and I remember going over to his house quite often, and I would sort of always gravitate to this. I mean, growing up, I think most of us would now not say so, but I think watching WWF, or now it's called WWE, was a rite of passage, a thing that we used to record. We used to swap tapes at school, and absolutely loved it. And I think I still was in sort of primary school, high school, and Andre the Giant was just such an amazing guy, just such a fantastic wrestler, and just larger than life. I mean, Andre the Giant. I mean, the name says it all. And I remember going to a good friend of mine and seeing this figure then. Always when we would play G.I. Joes or whatever, somehow Andre the Giant would always end up in my hands, and he would always be on my team fighting the bad guys or the good guys or whatever side we were on. And so a couple of years ago, my friend actually gifted this to me for Christmas, and it was just such an amazing thing to get this figure, one of the figures that I played with as a child at a friend's house and absolutely loved. And yeah, got it as a gift. So this will always have a fantastic place in my collection. Next is this one over here, signed Kevin Eastman, Rat King. If I remember correctly, I think Chris has one very similar with exactly the same, and absolutely love this. I mean, if you love the Ninja Turtles, you know who Kevin Eastman is, you know the story, the history behind it, and to actually have a piece of his own in your collection, one of his own figures signed by him that was previously owned by him, it's such a wonderful feeling. And I don't really like signed things that much, but out of the couple of things I do have that signed, this has got to be one of my favorites. I just think just the little art, the little doodle, the signature under the foot, and just knowing that this was in the hands of the creator of arguably the best cartoon series of all time, one of the greatest action figure lines of all time, and just has got such a great place in my collection. And every time I see it, I'm just filled with joy. And this is why we do it. This is why we collect, isn't it? To get that joy, to get that nostalgia, to get that feeling again of being a kid and excited about something. And this for me just hits me right in the feels every time I see it. And I said I don't really do the autograph thing, but I have another autograph. It's an autograph picture, not necessarily an action figure, but it's of Darth Vader, David Pearce, and it's autographed to me, and I absolutely love Star Wars. As I said to you earlier, it was my second favorite, is my second favorite line, and to have Darth Vader himself autograph a picture to you. And I always used to joke that if the house catches on fire, my wife can grab the kids and I'll grab this and make sure that it's safe. So this has a very fantastic and a wonderful place in my heart. And then the last thing, one that I absolutely adore, is this. I spoke very briefly about it earlier, and it's a turtle van that came out last year that was done for me. My friend did this for me. He does customs, or he did do customs up until last year, and he's now struggling a little bit health-wise and hasn't done a custom for a while. And if I remember correctly, this was his last custom. So even that adds more to this for me, that it's an absolutely such a great job that he did. He fabricated the top and a couple of things and did the paintwork, put on new wheels, and then did a custom job on the old April O'Neil there. Not to speak of the not to speak of the back, the sort of the card art as well that he put on. But just every time I see this, I'm very touched by a friend that would take the time to do this for me, that would take to use his skill in such a way to make my collection look a bit better. And this is just, for me, it's not probably in a monetary value as valuable as some of the other figures, but for me, I would never get rid of this. This is for me just absolutely, yeah. Every time I'm a bit of a loss for words to describe it properly, but for me, it's what collecting is about. It's not about the big things in our collection. It's not about the really expensive things. It's the things that have stories. And that's why we collect, isn't it? Because it reminds us of when we were younger. It brings back a bit of joy. It brings back a bit of that laughter and that love. And it's something that I share with my boys. I've got 2 sons, and both of them love collecting. The one's quite small, but the older one, he gets it and he loves it. And he knows the stories. And that's what it is, passing down the stories of our figures and the things that we collect and that we love, and sharing it with others. And you'll see some amazing collections. And it doesn't have to be huge. My collection is by no means huge, but it's also not small. It's what I believe is what I have, and I'm proud of my collection. I think all of us can be proud of our collection. We must never feel that we are lesser collectors because we have less, or that we're more collectors because we have more. I always believe that we need to be thankful for what we have, and this has taken a long time for me to get some of these figures and to get them the way they are. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? looking for the figures, collecting it, and finding things like this that are once-offs or signed things that not everybody will have, that just makes your collection your collection. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed your time here in front with my collection, and hopefully I haven't bored you too much with Loves and Turtles and Star Wars and all that jazz. But just remember why we collect. It's because it brings us back to a time in our lives when it was simpler. And I think a lot of these figures remind us of the joy that we had as kids, and we get a little bit back now in times like this when life is maybe not so joyful, when then things aren't that easy. We can look back at these and remember a time when we were. But I hope you guys have a wonderful time and enjoy this journey that Chris is taking you on, and that you find some really cool things and see some amazing things. And I want to end off with what my Ninja Turtle friends would say is, "Cowabunga dudes, let's be radical."